y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're interested to see how I made this wig, then keep on watching. Okay, so the materials you're going to need is a stocking cap of any choice, some type of edge control, a lace closure of choice. This is an old used one that I've had a while. I'll have it linked down in the description box. It has already been, the knots have already been bleached on this closure, so I didn't have to do that. You're also going to need some type of clips, crochet needle, scissors, as well as a comb. Make sure you don't forget your needle and thread, as your canvas head that's accurate to your size head. You're also going to need locks of your choice. The locks I have chosen, I will have the information linked down in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. I ended up using about 5 packs of the black locks and 2 packs of the burgundy. So in total, you're going to need between 7 to 8 packs of locks. And last but not least, you're going to need some type of hair to wrap the top of the locks. As you can see, I have the closure about 1 inch in front of the stocking cap. I did that so I can have a little bit more wiggle room to play with the lace when I'm installing this wig. So you want to go ahead and begin to sew, but with this stocking cap you want to make sure that you are only sewing through the crochet mesh material and not through the elastic band on this cap. If you sew through the elastic band, your cap will not have very much stretch to it anymore because you are restricting the stretch by sewing it together. Also, make sure that you are sewing very closely together, and I did go ahead and put one little single knot in it. That way I didn't have to worry about later on down the line the thread ripping or starting to come undone. So this secured my thread to my closure more securely by going ahead and place a knot in it. Like I said once before, make sure you are making all of your stitches very close together, and also put a knot in it to ensure that your wig will last for a long time. very optional. I know that there are plenty of other ways that you can make this wig. You did not have to do it the way that I am going to show you. You can go ahead and crochet them onto the stocking cap if that is easier for you. Also, and as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the lock onto the net part. Once again, do not sew through the elastic band portion of your stocking cap. So I went ahead and I sewed the lock onto the crochet part of the cap, and I did not cut my thread. Once one lock was installed, I went ahead and continued with that same piece of thread and installed the next lock, and so on and so on. Now I've seen plenty other videos where they literally just install one lock and they go ahead and tie that a knot on that lock, cut the thread, and continue on with the next one. So if that's something that you want to do, you are more than welcome to go ahead and cut each and every piece of thread after you have installed the lock, so you don't have a bunch of lines of thread all over the place. As for me, I did not mind, so I went ahead and continued with that same piece of thread until I ran out. This is what the wig is looking like so far. No, I have not finished. I am just almost up to the closure part, but I wanted to come and show you the closure part exactly as to what I'm doing. So as you can see, there's a lot of spaces that still needs to be filled in, which is okay. We'll have plenty of time to go back and fill that in, but what I like to do is make sure I get the bases of the wig installed, and then I will move forward. Okay, so to install the locks around the closure part, you literally want to install your locks through the closure as well as the cap. That way it'll cover any gaps that you'll have in between your closure and your cap. By actually placing it on top of that closure, you are ensuring that you will have no spaces left anywhere. Now, you do not have to pack the locks side by side with no spaces in between them for the closure part. Yes, you don't want any gaps, but at the same time, the way that these locks are made, they cover up enough space where you can have, I'll say maybe about a centimeter. I wouldn't even give it an inch, about a centimeter of room in between, so they don't have to lay right up against each other. Give yourself just a little bit of room and then install the next lock, and you will do that around the entire portion of the lace closure. Okay, so here's where your edge control of choice comes in play. You're going to need it so you can define your parts as well as slick the hair into the position that you want, and then you want to go ahead and begin to braid small little box braids into your closure. Now for the very first row on the sides of the closures, only installed 3 locks, but for the remainder of the closure, meaning the middle and the very center, I put 4 braids in each row. So the very first row, which is the edges of your closure, will only be 3, and then the remainder of the closure will be 4 braids in each row. I did that so that you wouldn't have so much locks on the edges of your closure, so it won't be so much bulkiness going on around your edges, so that your locks can lay a little flatter up against the closure edge, if you understand what I'm saying. Now to install the locks, I had thought about installing them at the very root of the box braid, but I remember last time I did that and it caused the locks to be a little lumpy. You can see the knots at the roots of the box braids and I didn't like that look. So I went ahead and installed the locks about 2 inches down the box braid. So just come down the box braid just a little bit and install your lock at that very point. And I did that for each and every box braid. Now once all of your locks are installed onto your box braids, you want to begin to start wrapping. Now there are two methods that I used when it came to wrapping the hair around the locks. As you can see right here, I am installing the hair that I will be using to wrap the hair at the very root of the box braid, and then you just want to tightly wrap all the way down till you pass the hair that's on the closure. Now I know you can start to get a little looser as you get about 2-3 inches down your lock, whichever you prefer, but I like the look of the tight lock from the beginning all the way until I reached a certain point. It's not really a specific point that I chose. I just decided to make sure that I wrapped tightly until I felt that I didn't need to anymore. You are more than welcome to wrap however you please, as long as you wrap tightly at the very root of your box braid to ensure that the hair is wrapped tightly and you won't have to worry about anything slipping. So the second method that I use it for the opposite side of the closure. Instead of using the crochet needle, you just want to take the hair and lay it as close to the roots of the box braid as possible and automatically begin wrapping. This way does take a little bit more skill, so to say. It's not as easy as already having the hair in place with the crochet needle. So only use this method if you already know how to lay the hair as close as possible to the root and just automatically begin wrapping. Now for me, I am short, so I did have to stand on a chair just to even reach the top of the closure, so I was able to begin wrapping. But once that was done, everything went smooth. Now you have your options of choosing whichever method works best for you. I prefer method 1 with the crochet needle because it was way easier for me. Another thing is, being the fact that we placed the lock about 2 inches down on the box braid, you have to be careful when you're wrapping to make sure that you wrap over top of that knot that was right there. Make sure you wrap it enough to the point where it's not big and bulky. As you can see on this first lock that I did, I wrapped it perfectly, but I started to get lazy throughout the video, and some of my locks you can see the notch, but I was perfectly fine with it because this is my wig and I don't really care. this point, y'all, we are almost done with our wig. The last part that we have to do is cut the section that is right underneath our lace closure off, so we are able to see more of the lace and it's giving the scalp, because without it, all you're going to see is dark, the black stocking cap up underneath it, and that's not the look we're going for. So make sure you go ahead and cut that out, and then your wig is complete. And this is the final result, y'all. This wig came out perfect. This wig came out better than my first goddess crochet lock wig I made. I'll have that video linked down in the description box below, so make sure you go ahead and check that video out as well. At this point, if you have not done so yet, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as that like button. That way other people can see this video on YouTube. And until next time, may God continue to bless and keep you. Mwah.